History and Headlocks. Class is in session.
Class is back in session here at Wrestle Media, and my God, this table is bothering me. You're having your own issues over there with your system, whatever the hell. But we're gonna be in a very cheery mood because we're back here, History and Headlocks, to talk about Mick Foley,
Mick
Part
Foley.
2.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where to start. First, thank you to everybody that tuned in to the last episode, and thank you to all the new followers that we have found on Instagram and Facebook. Because it was very quickly from we were celebrating 3,000 to now we have reached 4,000
Mm-hmm.
followers on Facebook. So thank you to everybody that has followed us on the Facebook page,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
and anybody that does find us on the YouTubes and on the podcasting outlets. Please do what you got to do. YouTube, subscribe, tap that bell for more notifications on all episodes related to us and to Jay Santee as well for Typical Tabloid, kind of promo, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So to continue our conversation on Mick Foley, we left off in the year 2000, and I want to start with what was because we kind of brushed by it, but this was kind of his first retirement. What
Mm-hmm.
was your initial reaction at the time?
Um, I guess I would say I was surprised and not surprised at the same time.
Hmm.
I'm surprised because he just didn't seem like he would want to retire so soon. But at the same time, I'm not, only because his body went through it.
Right.
So I can't help but wonder if he had like he weighed major pros and major cons as to whether he should end the career then or not.
Yeah, and then I guess follow up is that how you would think his career would have ended with the Hell in a Cell, and then again I guess putting aside the fact that he came back for that Mania 4-way at 2000, but just
Right.
the idea of him his last match would have been in Hell in a Cell. Was that could that have been a fitting end for his career at the time?
Yeah. I mean, if he's gonna go out, he's gonna go out with a bang bang. you know.
Because I mean, I
He,
don't think we really touched on it, but I mean, I think I mentioned it. But the fact that he did that back body drop off the top of the cell and
yes.
going through it and actually going through the ring.
Right. Right.
I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, is that worse than the other bump in Hell in a Cell?
Gosh. You know, I think they're all in a league of their own because
Hmm.
each one was just so massive and impactful, physically, and I guess emotionally as a fan. Um, but I didn't expect anything less. So
Yeah, I
you
mean, for
know,
this one, it definitely looked more planned. I will say that.
yeah, I'm
Like, like
pretty
like that was meant to happen. The first Hell in a Cell bumps
right. Those
were
just happened.
like out of control. You couldn't predict any of that.
hmm I do think that that's what they were trying to kind of emulate and replicate. They wanted that kind of big moment that would shock the fans, and because this was, at the time his last match, they wanted it to just be right. It's never their last match. It's never
Yeah.
their last match. You know, they wanted to have that big memorable moment to say like this is how Mick Foley goes out.
Right.
The only way he could go out, almost killing himself.
Yeah. Honestly, and it was so weird because that in that not weird, but it was kind of funny in the sense for the build for that match was from the word go. They were pretty much like, "I am going to throw you like I'm not getting thrown off the top. I will throw you off the top of Triple H." And pretty much there was no way hell he was going to take a bump like that. But yeah, and we talked about like how he got put in the WrestleMania main event, just like out of like gratitude for job well done. I don't know like what you would call that.
Yes. I wouldn't know what to call that either, to be honest.
Because I mean, it was not memorable. I mean, it was just the
No.
only thing I think people remember from that Mania was that it was the first triple threat ladder match,
Hmm.
and all the McMahon's in the corner in the main
Right.
event.
Right.
But I mean, it was good for Mick Foley. Like a lot, we hear a lot of wrestlers say like, "Oh, they never got that WrestleMania main event." Well, Mick
Right.
Foley gets to say, "Hey, I main evented a WrestleMania," and he didn't really do a good job. But I mean,
No.
I guess when you're not doing anything for a couple weeks and you're kind of out of the rhythm or training, I guess.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's to have to come back,
Yeah,
have a little ring rust, but you're coming back to the biggest stage in the
yeah.
biggest moment. Yeah, I'm
With
sure.
maybe I think like a week notice, maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I'm pretty sure he had that. The nerves maybe too. He was probably nervous as hell. Like, am I
Right.
gonna look good? Am I gonna look bad? I'm sure it all caught up to him.
Yeah. And,
Hmm.
and I believe it was around this time too that he started doing the book tour. So he started appearing on some early morning shows that I really didn't even notice or hear
Hmm.
about them, but I know he did a lot of them. But the thing that caught him off guard was the stories that he would tell to like these like interviews, and they'd be like, "What the hell?"
I know,
Because it'd be
and
like
it's
because his story is interesting. Where it's like he's not just a guy that wrestles in WCW and ECW. He's like he would talk about wrestling in Japan, where it's you'd be doing like barbed wire death matches every night and just like, putting your body on the line. And these interviews are just like shock and awe. And I'm like how are you alive? And like, and then they ask about the ear, and then just like, oh, like let me tell you about this.
and also like not only that, not just his stories, but like you see him, he comes in looking barbaric, right?
Yeah,
And he starts to speak, and it's just the most like beautiful speech that's coming out of this guy. Very, they probably think he's gonna be this big like boo-hoo, big lug, not really express himself well, but there he is sitting there just flowing with his words,
hmm
and I'm sure they were all like thrown off guard by everything because none of them know anything about that. They don't freaking watch wrestling. They don't know
and
shit.
you talk about his appearance. And remember, this he's still in his early 30s,
Right. Exactly.
which was crazy enough. But I think it was around this time too when I don't know what was going on. I believe Vince was trying to get the XFL off the ground, so he
Uh-huh.
took a step back from like the television. So they needed a new authority figure. So call in Mick Foley, and then what was your first thoughts of that? Where like they put Mick Foley in charge, and what do you think of him with the shaved head, where he shaved all his hair off?
I liked it. I liked the look on him. It was different. I feel like it made him look more youthful. It actually made him look more his age.
Commissioner Foley.
Commissioner Foley, and it was a little like okay, but you knew that it was going to create some pretty good stuff, pretty good storylines, pretty good moments on screen moments, good promos, interactions because McFoley could work with anyone.
I was about to mention the interactions because I mean the interactions with Kurt Angle, the interactions with Edge and Christian, and
So,
and that one, the interactions with Triple H, who he has a history with, he's like, I'm no longer gonna have people sit through a 15-minute promo, and just
right,
it was like one of those times, one of those first times where, as a fan, you're like, he's, he's calling out he's saying the quiet part loud. Like we don't want to hear any more 15-minute promos at the beginning of the show by one dude,
right, exactly.
and and it's very interesting where again like the interactions with Kurt, he'd be like Kurt's like Olympic Gomez, like yeah I respect you Kurt, but you just suck and you're just a crybaby and you do whatever the hell you want. And his humor was very interesting where it's like unless you understood what he was referencing, it's like okay, like, he would do like I'll get you my pretty and your little dog too. It's like he's
Yeah,
referencing the Wizard of Oz right now on Monday Night
right.
Raw.
Yeah, Mick was a quirky one, and he wasn't afraid to show that side. But I mean, that was always his character, though, right? He was
Yeah,
always just off the beaten path. He would just say some really crazy things that you'd be like, "How does that make sense?" And then you're like, "Well, it's Mick Foley. It's not supposed to really make sense." but it does to him. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think of like his moving offices? Because I mean, like from like nowadays, like we see the generic backgrounds like in a room with the logo or whatever posters.
Just standing around, right?
Commissioner Foley would be like, oh, like he's in like in a laundry room. He's in different locations.
Yeah.
Just like whatever hell is in there too. And there's always this stuffed bear. I don't know if you heard about this stuffed bear story, but it was from Make a Wish Kid.
Yes.
So every week he would tell the prop guy just put it somewhere, like, have it like somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
And there's the one famous one where like it's like a stuffed dog. It's in
Mhm.
the washing machine, and you just see the damn thing spinning, just going fast. It was very humorous, but
Yes.
it
Yeah.
was like one of those rare face um, authority figures that you got. Like thank God somebody's in charge that we like.
Right. Yeah. And in terms of like the office, I the office settings, I think is a nice touch. Is those little things that they don't do anymore.
Right,
You know, like you said, they just stick them in a corner backstage. They're standing around, and they throw some weird posters behind them representing different parts of wrestling, and they're not they're not sitting down at a desk. Like you would think that wherever they go, whatever arena they go, they're gonna find a makeshift spot to create a little mini office and have their commissioners sit there, maybe with a tablet or a laptop working, and
right,
then the wrestlers could come into the office and just burst in and be like, "Hey," and
right.
those little moments are missing.
Yeah,
It's
like
not the same when they're just standing
even
around doing nothing, like in the middle of nowhere doing nothing. Like it's just weird, awkward.
you don't even see like sheets of paper. Like okay, like this is the match card for tonight, or like a name, like a list of names. Like okay, here's who's available. Blah blah blah. It's like you really don't see that much of that in the current product. You just see person in charge stands here on this spot, and then wrestler A or B stands over there, and you're just
Right.
awkwardly standing across from each other talking.
Yeah, or there's a moment where wrestler A and wrestler B are beefing, and miraculously the commissioner shows up, or the
Yeah,
general manager, whatever you want to call him now. They show up. They just show up out of nowhere. Like, oh, he just happened to be there. You know,
right.
he just roaming the arena looking for something to happen. It's just I don't know. It doesn't work. But what they did with Mick, having him have a room and a makeshift office in the laundry room, like you said, or the boiler room, or the
Right.
bathroom, or the broom closet.
And it's one of
Those
those
little
things. And you look back, it wasn't a long run.
Mhm.
However you want to define run, long run, where it started in June and ended in December,
Yeah, just a few short months. Yeah.
which is kind of crazy when you think about it. When you think about like a lot of memorable stuff happening in that run of Commissioner Foley, it
Hmm.
was only for like six plus months, and that was
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was there just to fill the gap while, like you said, the XFL was being launched. So he was just a temp worker, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like something was going on backstage. I know, like I think too, like because around this time, like Linda was going around for the election at that year, so she wanted to get
Right.
like the fans of the WWF to go smack down their vote. So
Oh
that's
God.
so you have Shoot Dragon like, oh, here's The Rock, here's China, here's Mick Foley, go vote,
Ugh,
let your voices be heard. It's like, oh God, it's very. I think I don't know if you remember this. They wanted to invite the candidates to SmackDown and do a live debate on their show.
yes, I remember that.
You remember this?
Yes. Like what the hell? Like
Can you imagine?
I can't even. Like, just that. I can't. I, people wonder why, like politically, some fans are not into it anymore because of this. This is how long it's been going on, 20 something years.
Oh God, if they, I know over the years they've definitely tried political stuff, and maybe we'll cover that on History and Headlocks episode.
Yeah.
But like, they've had like the Barack Obama impersonators, they've had the Bush impersonators. I
Mhm.
mean, Trump alone has appeared many times
Trump
in,
has
in
appeared.
wrestling. So
Absolutely. But yeah, this just it. It's always been there.
Yeah, but I mean, for Mick Foley's commissioner stance, I mean, the hygiene could just stand alone because I don't know if you remember them giving him Deborah as his lieutenant commissioner,
Yes.
and they've I don't know if it's just Mick Foley pitching these ideas, but these would be awkward segments where he'd be like, can I touch your puppies? And then they'd be like, oh, Mick, and then like she put out like toy dogs, and it's like, what?
Yeah, I don't. I something tells me he's not the one. That he was not the one pitching those ideas.
But I mean,
Honestly,
he's the one doing it and saying, well, I guess he has no choice. But I mean, it's
he has
just
no choice.
hindsight looking at it, it's like, what the hell is that?
I mean,
And
that
I
was
guess also it's just another excuse to get Deborah on screen, I guess.
that's what it was. They probably didn't have anything else for her, and they were like, "Oh, just put her with Mick. That should be some interesting interaction." And
Yeah, look at this really disheveled looking Mick Foley next to the hot blonde with the big boobs.
right, exactly,
Wacky, wacky.
exactly. It was just so hornball.
Yeah, but then, of course, by Christmas time, Mick Foley's favorite time of the year, they have to do the whole "you're fired" angle, which I mean, it's like, I mean, when you look at Mick Foley's career, like, how many times has he been reduced to being fired and humiliated? Like, it's always around Christmas. Like, what the fuck?
And that's like his favorite holiday.
I mean, later on, he would become Santa Claus
Right.
in several instances. But I mean, so this was pretty much the end of Commissioner Foley. Going into WrestleMania 17, it is interesting that the initial idea was to do Mick Foley versus Vince in
Mm-hmm.
at the Astrodome.
Oh God.
But I mean, looking back at it doesn't it make sense for Foley to get his revenge?
Sure, it would have made sense, but did we want to see that?
I mean, does anybody want to see Vince wrestle? Not really. But I mean, when
Get
you
his
look
ass.
at
Sure.
I mean, when you look at WrestleMania 17, does that card really need to see Foley versus Vince? Because I mean, instead of getting Foley, we got his son Shane, not Foley's son, but
Right.
Vince's son Shane,
Yeah.
taking his spot. But I mean,
Right. I mean, if anybody, I would rather see Shane in the ring anytime over Vince, especially in that time where Shane was just going all in.
really,
You wouldn't want to see Shane over Vince in the ring?
I mean, I mean, over Vince, like, yeah, I see your point, but it's also, I don't know. I think it's weird when you get the McMahons involved
Of
in
course.
wrestling when then they try to say like, oh, like because remember when Shane was feuding with Kane in 2003?
Yeah,
It was like, oh, because they're on the same level. It's like, no, they are not.
they would not. I mean, listen, Shane pulled off some really cool stuff. I will give him. Nobody can ever deny that. Like the dude was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna learn some things. I'm actually gonna take the risks that the other guys do. Why not?
Yeah,
I mean, real. You have to admit, he's had some really impactful moments in wrestling that you would never think that the boss's son would do.
yeah. But I mean, I mean, for Foley, he didn't wrestle at 17, but he was the special guest referee for that match. And I will say that match is probably wrestling aside, that's probably the best storytelling match
Hmm.
for the McMahons, where like they had Linda in the wheelchair, and that was that moment where Linda stood up and the whole crowd goes nuts.
Yes.
You had the Trish moment where like she slaps Vince, and then she stays chasing Stephanie, and it's like Foley was in the middle of that. But I mean, again, it's like, it would have been interesting to see what Foley and Vince one-on-one match, what that would have looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that if that would have been the case, people would have wanted to see it be a hardcore match of
Yeah,
sorts, just to see, Vince get tortured by Mick.
yeah. And maybe Foley would have done maybe one stupid bump, but then that would have because I think also physically at that point he wasn't ring ready.
Yeah, no, I don't think he was.
So I think that's the reason why he said no, is because I think like physically he wasn't able to get himself ready for that match. So they went with Shane, but it's kind of a sad thing to say too. Because once we get later on in 2001, Foley starts becoming bitter. He starts getting angry. Because he would show up sporadically throughout the rest of the year until it finally just blew up. Because around this was around the invasion angle, and they brought him back as the WWF commissioner.
Hmm.
And Survivor Series, the last night they're going to do this angle, they're blowing it off.
Yeah.
He goes off and says, like, listen, I don't care who wins the main event between the Alliance or the WWF. I'm going to have a meeting with Vince McMahon tomorrow and tell him I'm done.
Right.
And this throws Jim Ross stuff all right, but we're gonna see you tomorrow night and like whatever the hell they got before. He goes, no, I'm gonna see Vince tomorrow on his private plane and have a conversation with the man. So the next day on Monday Night Raw, they filmed something where Foley goes on Vince's plane and pretty much just tells him to take this job and shove it.
Right.
Because I think creatively he was done, and just I mean I guess because he also had some ventures he wanted to do more stuff with the book. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think the deal with the book company that they did initially had ended, so he wanted to do more in the line of that and just branch out more. That would sadly turn out to bite him in the ass. But I mean, what was your thoughts on that? When because pretty much in 2002 Foley was not seen for a full
No,
year.
not at all. Not at all. We didn't see him at all.
What is your take that Foley just pretty much kind of used like his live TV appearance to just say, listen, I'm sick of this. I want to quit. I'm done with wrestling.
Yeah, you excuse me. You sit there and you question, like, is this is this real? Is he shooting on him right now, or is this part of a storyline? And then you're kind of wondering if we're gonna see him come back. So you're kind of left in a limbo, like, holy crap, what happened? I remember that, like, thinking he would come back eventually. He'd be back from Mania, maybe make an appearance there, and there
Nothing.
was nothing.
Like
Zero.
even that segment on the private jet, because it's like all my blood, sweat, and tears went into you buying this jet. Maybe you can name that couch the Cactus Jet couch. And Vince was like, no, got something better. How about the Dude Love toilet? And they go ha ha ha. And then Foley's like,
Right.
you know what? And I know this that was all scripted, but it's also like Foley and deep down like I'm already annoyed enough, and you're just taking more digs at me.
Right. Yeah.
Which I don't know. It kind of sucks that like Foley had visions of grandeur. It's just that it never worked out for him outside of wrestling. It's just because then at
Yeah.
that point he pretty much like, listen, like unfortunately the only way for me to make money is putting my body on the line or being in wrestling.
Yeah. And he's so talented without having to do that, but because that was his bread and butter, that's all anyone wanted to see. And let's face it, you had guys like The Rock going to Hollywood, but look at The Rock and then look at Mick Foley. Two complete opposites
Yeah,
physically. And Hollywood is very much, I mean, even Hollywood took The Rock and tried to make him look more Hollywood.
right.
They made him slim down with the muscles and made him grow his hair and look a certain way. So I'm sure they would have looked at somebody like Mick, who could have been a great actor. He could have played a dad in the movies. He could have had that kind of role.
Yeah,
He could have been the Jack Black
right.
style role. But they probably were like, we already have Jack Black. And we
Yeah,
already have an Adam Sandler. Like, we don't need any more. We want more good looking Hollywood types.
right. No, and also too maybe not maybe in Hollywood. He probably didn't. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But I think for him too is also the book stuff where I
Oh,
think he wrote a second book, but I mean I don't
yeah.
remember it selling well like the first one.
Yeah, the first one was definitely the bigger book. But that happens with a lot of these wrestlers that release these books. It's like, I get that their stories continue, but it's like there's only so much story you can tell from time to time. You kind of have to. I don't know. It's weird. Unless you start writing fictional novels, the
Yeah,
the biographies you can only do so much.
yeah. And again, like Foley was I could definitely tell Foley wanted to do more stuff instead of taking a bump or doing something stupid to get a paycheck. Where it's like if I could just do something else that could help pay for everything that I want for especially also my kids.
He had a great personality. He could have done something on television, non wrestling capacity. He could have hosted things, game shows. I don't know what he could have done, but the dude has a great personality.
Right.
very warm, very infectious, and there's so much that could have been done with that.
Yeah. And it's kind of pseudo sad when, in the sense, like, he did come back to the WWE like, in 2003 to do, like, I
Right.
don't know if you remember, he was the special guest referee for the Triple H Kevin Nash Hell in a Cell, where at the last minute they changed the build to pretty much like going back on Triple H and Foley's history.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
pretty much like them two were brawling at the end of one of the Raws, and then it was like, oh, by the way, Kevin Nash is challenging for the title on Sunday, which kind of
Hmm.
screwed over Kevin Nash. But I mean,
Yeah.
they really didn't care. But I don't know if you remember, but the next night they were in Madison Square Garden, and they honored Mick Foley.
Hmm.
Do you happen to remember this edition of Raw?
A little bit. A little bit.
They had Stone Cold come out with a lot of the old with the ECW guys like the Dudleys,
Right.
Tommy,
Yes.
RVD, Steven
All the
Richards, Al Snow, and they had I don't know what you call it, but it's like a case with the hardcore title in it, and they presented it
Mhm.
to Mick Foley.
Right.
They had a tribute video for Foley. It was kind of also I don't know what you would kind of call it. This I feel like this was kind of a retirement ceremony they were trying to give Mick, like
Yeah.
honor him, but let him go out in the sunset on a high.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. Like, yeah, exactly like you said. Like that's it's like the tribute, the tribute to his career, the tribute to the man.
You know, they're kind of like I don't know, maybe try to make him like happy again after being gone for like a year and a half.
Yeah. Like showing him, listen, this is what you've accomplished. This is what you've done. This is you. Without you, we wouldn't have had all these amazing moments. Whether you put the sacrifice out there for us, and we
Yeah,
thank you for that. Yeah.
and they had Vince McMahon come out. I was surprised. He's like, "Listen, I'm going to say the two words that I should have said long ago to you," and he said, "Thank you." And then they gave it was a nice hug, and Foley was playing like I got he was like joking. I was like, I got the old man to say thank you. Like I got like joking around. But then I think it was like 20 minutes later. It's like okay, now let's start doing an angle with Foley because Foley's back now, and
Mm-hmm.
it's with a young Randy Orton,
Right.
where Randy Orton kicked him down a flight of stairs, and we didn't see Foley for a couple of months, and then he pops back up in December, and then this was when they started to do the Randy Orton Legend Killer gimmick, and Mick Foley, perfect for his legend. And mind you, I don't know if you remember Randy Orton around this time. Those loogies that he was
Yeah.
giving to the one, it was the funny one when he spat in Harley Race's face, and Harley
Oh my
tried to punch him in the face right afterwards.
my God. He was just listen. That's Randy for you.
Yeah,
Like, you
because
give him an opportunity to be obnoxious, he's gonna take it all the way.
and think about it too, a young, cocky 22 or 23-year old kid thinks he has the world in the palm of his hand, and he's just well deserved RKO to the fabulous Moolah, spitting in Harley's face, RKOing like this was a young character that was primed to be like they were looking at him like to be the main eventer, and then he did one spit to Foley's face, and Foley just snaps.
I mean, just think about how many of those people knew him as a kid, right?
Hmm.
Knew him as a baby, basically, and now here he is killing them.
Yeah, it was pretty much him, just like he was killing off like my dad's generation, and now this generation is trying to kill Randy Orton.
Right.
But like your thoughts on Mick Foley working with Randy Orton? Because I mean, they had the WrestleMania match at 20, where it was like a brief reunion of Rock and Sock, which seems
Mhm.
random to think like The Rock returned for a month in 2004, and
Right.
I don't think anybody really remembers that. They just remember the Foley Randy because that's what it was mostly about.
Right. I mean, I was at WrestleMania 20, so I can't remember that.
Because I mean,
Yeah,
it's weird looking back in 2004 to see The Rock work with both Batista and Randy Orton, both in their early stages.
yeah, and honestly, I loved it because it felt very appropriate. Because you would look at both guys and see the potential in becoming the major star that The Rock became
Mm,
in and outside of the ring. And we see it with Batista, right? It worked, like especially Randy and The Rock.
yes.
You look at young Randy and you see the look. the physique, the cockiness that the young Rock had back in the day. I
Charisma aside, you could definitely tell like this is like what the future of the business should be like. Well, what they wanted to be like the third generation wrestlers.
exactly, exactly. It did that too. That was the biggest factor. The fact that they were both third generation.
Yeah.
So the parallels were there. But
The,
like you said,
the,
it was.
the, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just that's crazy to think when it's like that's their only interaction.
I know, and I thought that they would have been so much more. I thought that they would have had a feud or some sort of. Yeah, if it wasn't a feud, it was a collaboration of them working together.
Yeah. But
You
for
know,
Foley, where again, like he got to work Madison Square Garden, and he said looking back on it, he was very disappointed, and he thought like he wasn't ready, he wasn't in ring shape. So then the month later, gets himself in great physical condition for Cactus Jack versus Randy Orton, no holds barred at Backlash, and this is the match where everybody has seen where Randy takes that insane RKO bump into the tax, and he just sits up like I never had a tack like pinning me or but I mean just oh my god.
yeah,
I
yeah, that
mean, then this is
was
one of those things where whoever works with Foley, he brings something out of them, like the most
yes,
violent version of them.
yes. I mean, we've seen the clip of the thumbtacks and Randy's whole lower like back and butt and legs, and I mean, what a way to. That was almost like like the true initiation for him. Like, all right, you did the thumbtack spot, and you did it with the most thumbtacks we've seen ever in a ring.
And the thing that gets people crazy is, I can remember the reaction, or because I just watched it recently, but the fans audibly gasp because it's like, like
Yes,
because like the pretty boy took the crazy bump.
and you see the genuine pain he's in,
Yeah,
and then when he picks himself up, and you see the layer of thumbtacks, not just here, it was a full layer of thumbtacks covering his back,
beautiful.
his trunks. Yeah, it was like it couldn't have gone off any better.
And his body went. I fully believe his body went into full shock. Because like give like 100, 200 tacks in your back, and you're like, holy shit.
Like I think to myself, sometimes when you go to get like certain like vaccines as a doctor, and some of them feel like you just got stabbed by a machete or something, because some of them hurt. So imagine that times 100. Oh, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they
But
do
I
it.
mean, for Foley's case, he did look good in that match. He put Randy over, and that was pretty much what started the motions for Randy. Then going into that summer, winning the world title. But I mean, for Foley, it's again one of those moments where he got to show like his brilliance.
Right.
But then like again, like he would still make his one-off appearances, come in out of show. Mostly, he would show up on Monday Night Raw. Maybe a few of those tribute to the Troop show. He would dress up as
Yeah.
as Santa, the type
Yes.
of deal.
Yeah.
But then when I think about him going into 2005, like he really didn't do much. He was pretty much ambassador for the company.
Absolutely. And when he would pop up, it was to get that nice pop. The crowd loved it. Anytime he would pop up, especially if it was out of the blue, unexpected, unscheduled, and you hear his music kick in, and you're like, "Oh my God, it's Mick!" It felt like a treat, like a special moment.
I'm trying to remember if he did really anything in 2005. The only thing I really remember was like he had one match with Carlito, and it was for when they were
Ah,
doing those Taboo Tuesdays, and you got to see like okay, who do you want Mick Foley to dress up as? Do you want him to be Cactus Jack, Mankind, or Dude Love?
I remember that. I remember that little gimmick that what they were trying to do. Right? No, yeah, it was very in and out, sporadic.
Yeah,
Well deserved,
but it's
though.
not till 2006 when when he sees another up and coming star that he knew was destined to be a main event, and that was Edge. So going into WrestleMania 22, what was your thoughts on this? Because it was pretty much Edge now transforming himself into the rated R
The rated
superstar
R.
who just came off the live sex celebration with Lita.
Oh Lord.
and now working a WrestleMania match with Mick Foley, who, funny enough, going into this, because Mr. McMahon and Shawn Michaels had the street fight at WrestleMania. In this match, they wanted it to be a steel cage, but
Yes.
both of them denied it because they said like, "What? Like, we can't do anything in a cage. So like, let's do a
Right.
hardcore match."
Right. You know, it because we already saw Edge do a lot of crazy TLC matches. Kind of felt like inevitable that this would happen, that him and Mick would face off. Especially once he became a solo star. Like I saw it happening. I saw it. Like for me, it made sense.
Mm.
Now he is no longer Edge a Christian. He's not really doing the TLC matches, but we still want to see him do the crazy shit that we've loved to see him do.
Hmm.
He's a single star now. He's like you said, he repackaged himself as a rated R superstar. Now he gotta do some rated R shit.
Mm.
And who better
Very uncomfortable rated R
right.
stuff.
But who better to do that crazy stuff than with the crazy man himself, the hardcore legend himself?
It was a very simple story too, where it was just pretty much Edge was like, "Listen, you're a fucking muppet.
Mm,
You wear a damn sock on your hand,
right.
and I'm supposed to be scared of you." And then of course we know Foley, he could just flip a switch, and it's just, yeah, that muppet is about to kill you on the grandest stage of them all. Where
Yeah.
again, it's one of those moments where Edge takes the back bump into the attacks, and it's an audible gasp. He's like, he did that.
Right. Right. Because we had seen him go through tables, we had seen him fall off ladders, but we hadn't seen him do that kind of stuff yet.
It's always the tax, isn't it? Like, because
Oh,
it's a one step higher than what fans are used to seeing,
right.
like getting hit in the head with a chair, going through a table.
It doesn't matter how many times they pull out the bag of tacks. Everybody has the same reaction, like, "Oh, here it comes, the tax."
Yeah,
And the one thing higher than the tax is the fire.
yeah. What was your reaction to this? Because I mean, just the
Oh,
idea to just have Lita outside like, drenching the table with lighter fluid. Mick Foley is standing on the apron, and then Edge spears him through it, and both the reactions afterwards, just both rolling around trying to like get this
crazy.
like in pain, trying to get the
Oh
Foley
man,
was legit on fire.
it was crazy. Just because it was so, it happened in a way that was so, like, you saw it was
Funny enough,
happening.
fire. There's a fire
Oh
truck on.
yeah, the fire department there is like, "Hey, you said fire? We're coming."
Because I mean, because it was quick and instant. Because once that fire started, Ed starts running and immediate spear.
That's the thing. Is like you said, you see Lita like drenching the table, so you know what's coming. But then when it happened, it was just like, "Holy crap!" Because they just, like you said, he just flew and speared him through the table, and they're just, oh, just to see them fall into those flames was kind of crazy because those flames were pretty intense.
Because I mean, once you get that fire started, you gotta go.
Gotta go fast; it's gonna spread. You don't want to set the whole freaking arena with full of thousands of people in there. That's, I was
Chicago burns down because of fire.
again Chicago. Remember, Chicago burned down before many many moons ago.
Yeah.
Imagine that would have been crazy. But like, yes, I will say that's always been, not to go off topic, but that's always been one of my greatest fears, going to a major event like that.
And then a fire starting.
Like some sort of emergency starts, and then you're like, that happened to me. Like the thought hit me when I was at WrestleMania X8 in Toronto, because you know
Ooh. Yeah,
there was,
it's a sky dome. It's a big arena.
and I'm looking around seeing like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. That was the biggest crowd I've ever been in my life to this day. And I was thinking to myself, "Oh my god, if there's an emergency, how the fuck are we gonna get out of here?"
I mean, it's scary to think about it. Like, in those big areas, it's because like you're hoping everybody's like, okay, let's get out of here quick. But it's also like it's gonna be panic, But
Panic and yeah,
I understand where you're coming from.
So then when you see matches like that, a table's lit, like you said, they have to do the spot quickly so that the fire doesn't spread. And obviously they're all there ready to do whatever it takes in case there is an emergency. I'm sure they got the extinguishers on the sides, and they're ready to go. But it is scary because you think to yourself, what if something happens, something goes wrong, and the fire spreads? It's such a huge risk, and that one looked like that could have happened.
Well, thank God there was a standby with a fire extinguisher. Because I mean,
Yes.
again, Foley got legit. Because I think for everybody that's not aware, if you're not aware, I don't know how, but
Right.
he wears sweatpants, a t-shirt, and a
Right.
flannel.
Right. And then you have Edge, who, he had the longer hair. It wasn't as long, but he still had longer hair. The
No
hair catches
shirt, and he's wearing jeans.
right, which are, it's a thick fabric.
And we mentioned Foley's wife, how she's seen everything her husband been through. She called him on the phone and said, "How's Edge?" Because she was worried about Edge.
Well, of course, she's like, how's the young one? Because at this point, she's like, oh, Mick, he's come home with the burns and the scars and the breaks, and he's still with us. But these young boys, I know what my husband's capable of.
Yeah. And so like that happens at WrestleMania 22, and they also like they was telling this weird little story too. Like Foley never had his WrestleMania moment because I mean
Yes.
I don't know like is that one of those weird plot points that needs to be a thing in wrestling?
I can understand why some people would want certain guys to have that moment, but there's only so many spots.
Yeah, I mean like Foley's done everything on everything and beyond in the world of wrestling. So it's, like at that time I was like. Oh, like I like because Edge was saying like, oh, I've been to WrestleMania multiple times. I have so many moments. Foley,
Mhm.
what have you really done at WrestleMania? It's like
Right.
okay, like that was like a weird little plot hole. But I mean, it only got weirder that year because I mean, did, did you in your mind think Foley would ever turn heel and go against the fans? 'Cause, I mean, that's what
At
happened in
that stage,
2006.
right, like at that stage of his career, I never imagined that. Never.
The fun loving Mick Foley is now a bad guy on television. Who is he feuding with?
Right.
His idol Terry Funk and Tommy
Right.
because this was when they were reviving ECW. So
Hmm.
Foley, of course, is I'll take charge. I'll lead the fucking
Right.
brigade, and him and Edge form this union and go
Right.
against Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer at One Night Stand, and Foley still gives one of those like that like it's Foley comedy, so it's like I when ECW was a thing, it had a tremendous leader and a visionary and a pioneer. Give it up for Stephanie McMahon, and the crowd
No.
and the whole Hammerstein goes boo. Because Foley's like just referencing the line saying it was Stephanie bought ECW, but I mean it's just
Right.
weird heel heat. But again, in that match, it was the table or not the table but the barbed wire board that was on fire that both Funk and Foley went through together.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
You hear Funk screaming, "My eye, Foley, damn it, my eye!"
Yo, Terry Funk, rest in peace, bro. You were fucking hilarious at times, unintentionally.
And ironic enough, today that recording is only a few years ago where he passed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Terry Funk. But I want to also hear your reaction to this. Were you watching the product at this time in 2006?
I was in and out at this point, but I was still kind of trying to keep up with it.
So they had this angle where, like, again, they did this whole tag match, but the story was that Foley was a sellout.
Hmm.
So like he was full like WWE, where like Foley like justified like, listen, the minute I pulled the sock out of my pants, I became the biggest star this company's ever seen. And Foley was like you're a shell of a man. Word for words, this is all the stuff he says. He says like your children are bastards. Your wife's a whore. The W and mind you, Funk says this, Foley no sells it. Funk goes, the WWE sucks. Oh, I'm gonna kill you, Terry. God damn it, don't ever say that again.
You could talk about my family, but don't you ever talk about my company?
It was one of those weird heel turns. He was like, what am I seeing from Foley?
I know. You know, seeing Mick as a heel as Cactus Jack in the early days made sense, right?
Right.
Because the gimmick needed to be a heel. He needed to be
Right.
wild and untamable and reckless as fuck. But when you've seen Mick be this lovable teddy bear for years,
Yes.
and then to see him turn and become like this jackass, basically. It's just, I mean, listen, it's not that it couldn't work,
Just
right?
didn't
Because
make
you could,
sense.
it just didn't make sense. It could have worked because it could have been the guy that was just sick and tired of being that guy, and he's held that in for so long that kind of like how John Cena kind of when he turned heel, that he was so tired of being the good guy that it just came out. I could see that happening, but it just becomes a trope.
Because I mean, there's one other way they could have done it, and I don't remember if they ever acknowledged it. But Foley could have said, "Listen, I put my body on the line for so many years, and then
Right.
you people just shrug it off the next day, and then say, oh, like I wonder how Mick's doing." Meanwhile, it's like I have to sit home and God damn it, look at my wife in the eye and say, "I'm not going to do it again." Meanwhile, I know damn well I'm going to go do it again.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, so it's like weird transition from that, and then go into a feud with Ric Flair,
Yeah.
who in real life they had real life beef because when Flair was in WCW and as the booker, he never saw anything in Foley.
Right.
And in Flair's book, he wrote that Foley's just a glorified stuntman.
Right. Yes.
I
And
mean, what
dog.
yeah, I was about to say like how like at the time I really didn't know like how real this was, but then looking back on it now, like 2026 hindsight, it's like that this is awkward.
Yeah.
Just seeing two old men argue on television about each other's careers.
I know. But you know what? WWE love doing that. If they knew that two wrestlers had legit beef, they love putting them on screen together. They loved it.
And it was also like one of those weird first time evers. Foley
Yes.
versus Flair on television.
Right.
And it's
Two
also the
polar,
mixed two different styles.
complete polar opposites.
But this was around the time when Flair just said "fucking" and said, "I don't care, I'll do anything." Like earlier
Yeah.
in the year, he competed in his first ladder match. He competed at the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. Now he's doing hardcore matches and loving it.
In his, I thought he was like his 50s at the time. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I mentioned how like fans react to when like Randy and Edge, like the young boys
Mhm.
are taking bumps in the thumbtacks. When you
Mhm.
see Flair take a bump and then just roll in the in the thumbtacks afterwards, so it's like one of those weird visuals. 'Cause he's just like and then he just gets right back up and just like nothing,
Well, he was probably so goddamn high.
or drunk,
Drunk, or both.
but he's throwing barbed wire around with full. Like he's like this is like two old men like fighting at your family barbecue or at a fair. Like
At Waffle House. But yeah, it's almost like Flair said, you know what? I'm at this stage of my career. Fuck it, I'm just gonna do everything that I've never done now
yeah.
because I know at my age it's gonna get a rise out of everybody.
There was the one funny segment where like the idea was for Flair to throw Foley's book down and talk into the microphone. He threw the mic down instead and started talking into the book.
Oh my god. Rick was just-
Well, that was Flair. Like Flair fucked up because like he was so animated. He's just like,
no,
damn it,
yeah,
damn
yeah.
it.
So Rick is, but it's so on brand with him at this stage. You know, at that stage of his career, he was no longer the Space Mountain Ric Flair. He didn't have that suaveness anymore. He was just the crazy old man who still thought he had it.
It's funny you mentioned that
Yeah.
because this was around the time too where Foley had a liking to Melina
Mhm.
backstage and on screen, but it's just like he thought he saw like stars in her and wanted to get her involved in the storyline.
Okay.
Where he would mention like for a guy like Flair, he would look at her as like another like a goal, like basically saying like all Flair wants to do is fuck her.
Uh huh.
But with me, I just want to be her friend. And again, it's like one of those weird things when you look back on it. It's like when you look at his character standpoint, it's like what does this have to do with anything?
Yeah.
But it's also like you're the heel. Let Rick fuck her. Like what are we supposed to say? Like what are we doing?
Yeah. It's always
I
that was
feel
always
like Foley's motivations were never clear and concise.
in general just the way they would always use the woman as the sexual object in between the storyline with the men. Like there was always a woman stuck in there, like involved in that way, and it's so pointless sometimes. It's like, what are we doing?
Because I mean, if you just kept the stuff of like these two have a professional jealousy, they don't like. Well, like for Flair, like, in Flair's case, like he doesn't respect Foley and what he did to get over.
Right,
Foley, in return, wants to beat him at what he got
so
himself over for and just teach Flair a
right,
lesson. Easy
right.
story. You don't need to involve one of the divas just because you feel bad for it or you think she could become a star. It's like
It's just
who
weird.
gives a shit?
Why are we throwing her in? Why are we throwing anybody else in this mix?
I don't know. I don't know. So
And again,
again,
I'm
they
seeing a
do
woman
the
like that. No, I
and they
don't.
and they do the thing, of course, where Vince is. This was also around the time Vince was high on kissing ass club, so he wanted Mick Foley to do it, and then Foley got fired again.
Oh, I hated that shit. It was hysterical, but I hated it.
It should have. It had a small window, a small one in
Right.
2002.
Yes.
But then when it made its return in
No,
2005, and then kept going.
no, he just got off on that. Like, and like, wow, I would have quit.
For Foley's sake, in storyline, he got fired, and he got rehired again, and then
Right.
weirdly, and then 2008 rolls around, and weirdly, now he's a color commentator.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know what spawned him to do it. He just figured, let me, because I need. To, he was like, I want to do something besides taking a damn bump.
Right. Like, he's like, I want to be there, but I don't want to kill myself.
So it was very interesting to see in 2008, at least early 2008, where on SmackDown, the team of Michael Cole and Mick Foley are your commentary team, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from what I was hearing from from Foley's perspective, that he would go around legit ask the wrestlers like, "Listen, like, what do you want me to say? Like, what do you want me to put over? Like give me some notes for me to say." And then
Right.
once he got to the commentary booth, like Vince would be like, "Listen, you're gonna say what I want you to say,
Right.
and that's it."
Yeah.
And then there was a few times where Vince cursed at him, and at that and Foley's not used to that. Foley is the type of person that does not receive well to that. And honestly,
Right.
I don't know
Would.
anybody who is
Yeah. Who would? Who would want to be, scream that in their ear and curse that?
for saying certain words that Vince doesn't like.
Right.
It's like Vince has his way of commentary, and I mean we've heard him like what a maneuver, but no, it's like he just wants like certain phrases, the way to describe things. It's
Yeah. Don't
just
use these words. Never use wrestle. What was it? What the
don't
word he
call it
said?
wrestling.
Don't call that wrestling. Like, sports entertainment. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to call things? Like, the most obscure replacements, and then he expects people who've done this all their career to remember. Come
Right. And it's interesting because it's like it's very funny where Foley confronted him the first time when he cursed at him. He just said, "Listen,
on.
like I'm not used to that. I don't like calm. I want an apology." If it's like listen, pal. Like I'm sorry. But then he does it again, and then Foley's like, "You know what? Fuck. Like I'm like no, I'm not doing this." So
No.
then Foley did one little angle with Edge to get himself off, ran off television, and then he was gone from the company again in
Mm,
2008.
right.
Does this kind of shock you at this point, or just
No, not at all. It just when you think about everything that he was getting involved in, you could feel that there was frustration growing within him.
right,
Professional frustration and personal probably too. Like, especially when he decided to try to do the commentary and he's getting abused verbally in his ear.
right?
And he's probably like, why am I bothering working for this freaking clown?
I mean, all he wants to do is just try and help the business in the way
Yeah,
because
fun doing it.
I mean, might as well mention it here, but his presence on social media is
Mhm.
very strong to where it's like because he watches the product. So if
Right.
whatever happens, he immediately comments on it.
Right.
He's brutally honest. He thinks whether like something's really good, something's the shits.
Oh
He
yeah.
gives his perspective where it's where you want that mind. in your locker room or like in your business meetings is like, listen, like, who do you think has and who doesn't?
Yes.
And he has that eye for talent where like, he can see things in people like if you would have dragged this out, maybe you could get something out of him or her. But it's just like one of those sad situations where he's sitting at this announcer's table and he wants to put the guys over, but he has this crazy madman screaming in his ear, telling him what to say and what not to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when
It's
he,
it,
yeah,
it had to be very underwhelming for me and disappointing.
right.
You know, who wouldn't in any job situation? Nobody wants to be abused by their boss.
And it's also one of the most weird situations to bring up where a lot of these wrestlers look as look at Vince as a father figure, and then it's just when you put both of them together, it's like your father's yelling at you.
Right.
It doesn't sound right, but that's how a
Right.
lot of these guys feel at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
made you a lot of money, and you're treating me like this right like now.
You're right. It's
Oh,
like
that's how you choose to treat me. Fuck
the, the,
this.
the bubble gets burst for them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and it was very weird to see where he went next with his career because he went to the TNA in
TNA.
early
Right.
2008. So, and were you in out? Like, what was your?
I wasn't watching actively at the time, but I've seen some of the stuff. I've seen a good chunk of the stuff
Do you
that
remember hearing of the news of Foley going to TNA, and what was your initial thoughts?
I did, and I was a little surprised. I mean, it's not like he was a lifer in WWE. He didn't start there. Obviously, he started elsewhere. But you thought to yourself after a while he would be just loyal to the company, whether he was active on screen or not.
Yeah,
He would be, like you said, like an ambassador, or he'd make special one-off appearances, and you would never see him anywhere else. But then he popped up in TNA, and I was like, you know what? He needed the change. You know, he needed the change. It was surprising, but at that point, there were so many of them going that way anyway.
right.
It was probably almost inevitable that he would try to at least try to, see where that went.
Before we move on to the TNA thing, I do want to mention too that in brief, I think maybe around 2005, 2006, I will say he did dip his toe a little bit in Ring of Honor,
Yes, yes.
where like he did make a few appearances for them, and he did pitch to
Before that,
Vince. Yeah,
yeah.
it was definitely around that time. But it was definitely he pitched the debut for WWE Samoa Joe and CM Punk
Yeah,
to debut on Raw and beat him up. Again, it goes towards the thing of like he sees talent and wants to help them out.
yeah. I'm trying to remember because I know, I got a picture with him at one of the Ring of Honor shows. We were all, of
Of course you did.
course, I did. How
Right,
we were hanging out by the bar. He was there, and we got a picture with him.
right.
Um,
But again,
yeah, that's,
does this kind of shock you in the sense of
oh,
like he
that's
want like
more.
he,
Sorry, it was like 03, 04.
okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, but again,
Either way,
to say that like around 2003, 2004, where he's openly pitching to Vince, hey, these two guys in Ring of Honor are
right,
very talented. Let's do something. And Vince, of
right
course, goes no, but
at the time,
yeah,
because Vince is the kind of guy that he wants it to be his idea. So somebody could pitch him the idea, and he'll be like, no. And then like a year later, he'll be like, I'm gonna do it. It's my idea.
right.
Meanwhile,
But
I was like, wait a minute, I pitched this to you like 2 years ago.
but you know what it also is too. It's one he's using his eyes, and what is he looking at? A fat Samoan and a guy in basketball shorts covered in tattoos with no
With bleach
muscle.
hair. Right.
So and I can imagine him looking at Mick like, are you high? Like, what do you see in these two?
Right. But then Mick could have been like, well, what did you see in me?
That too, but no, but also Mick is definitely one of those company guys. Like all right, whatever.
Right.
He's a company guy. Like, because again, it's like that father figure thing. It's like if your father says no, don't fight it.
Exactly.
But yeah. So back to him going to TN. It was again. It didn't surprise me because at that point they had Kurt, Sting, the Dudleys, Christian, Booker, Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash, all former WWE and WCW stars, and Mick was just the latest one. But I did find it interesting that he only. I don't think he. I really believe he didn't want to wrestle. But of course, they
Right.
put him in a situation of, you want to wrestle? And he was like, sure, let me wrestle a few matches.
It's an addiction, you know?
Right.
It's an
I,
addiction. If
I can
you
have
can,
one little match. What's the worst that can happen?
right. Like, well, yeah, like you said, it's not going to hurt.
Right. And it's also like when you look at the year 2009 and around WrestleMania time, WrestleMania 25 to be exact, where this is
Yes.
the Taker Shawn one in
Yeah.
Texas. TNA is like, oh, let's do Foley and Sting. A
Hmm.
match that we haven't seen in, what, 19 years at that point?
At that point, yeah, because they feuded in the early '90s, right? In WCW.
And if
You know?
WWE owns all the footage, so they can't show shit.
Right.
So,
Let's
all right,
recreate.
let's have fun with this one. And they have one of those like not good cage matches at Lockdown. And here's the other thing: Foley wins their world title.
Yes.
Think about that. Think about
Hmm.
all the matches he had in WWE with your Randys, your Edges, like Carlito, like the random, like any
Yeah.
matches he did. They never gave him a belt after his last one in '99.
Right.
This is 2009 TNA. They're trying to grow and
10
be
years
the
later.
number two, and you're making Mick Foley your world champion again. This is again one of those weird heel runs where it's like he's corrupted by the title. He's like, oh, I won the title. I'm not going to wrestle for another. I have 30 days to wrestle
Right.
again.
It. Yeah.
What are we doing?
Right.
What is he doing?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that they did that, you know, storyline because he probably couldn't wrestle that often at that point. So why not use the excuse of the 30-day rule to stretch out his matches?
I mean,
Then
they
why
gave
put the belt on him?
he's wrestling. He's main eventing pay per views.
Yeah.
World title matches against Kurt Angle, who's already on. Yeah, Kurt Angle's already beat up enough. Now he has to
Right.
go and have a match with Mick Foley.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at the time TNA was writing off the names. He was
And
doing all they wanted.
in Foley's credit, again, he saw talent, and meanwhile this guy was a little older, but he wanted to put Abyss over,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yeah,
do
'cause he saw his outfit of this.
the Monsters Ball match, and of course Foley goes to your barbed wire, your thumbtacks, and that's the match where Daphne took that stupid bump and they missed it on the camera.
Yeah.
The choke
Yeah.
slam through the board with the barbed wire.
Yes. All for nothing.
And Foley feels bad enough because he did suggest it and said like this will like give you a spotlight, but her, she just it's the way she landed because her head hit the concrete floor.
Yeah. I know.
But I mean, yeah, but it's pretty much. You're probably wondering like, how did his TNA run end? Well, Hulk Hogan came in and that was it.
Hulk Hogan came in and ruined a lot of runs.
Because well, yeah, because also for Foley and TNA, he was co. Uh, what was the word? But it was a co-executive shareholder. A
Hmm.
shareholder.
Right.
I'm a stupid kid. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. Right. At the time, you didn't know what that was. Shoot, I didn't even know what the hell that was back then either. I'm like, what the fuck's
What
a
stupid
shareholder?
title did they give you? And you're in charge now.
You know?
Yeah, but I mean, like the last thing he did in TNA was introduce China as Kurt Angle's partner for a mixed tag, and then he was pretty much fired from TNA
Right.
around. No, and there was another thing in TNA he did. Him and Ric Flair had another hardcore match
Right. They
on
did
television,
that. Yes. Right.
and that one was is bloody as hell. Just watching two like, and this is Flair older and much wrinklier.
Right.
Just
And, and people need to remember at the time TNA was the more the promotion that took more liberties
the
with
more
what they showed.
bloodier.
The bloodier, more violent promotion, right?
Because this was around the time WWE was PG. There was no blood.
Right. So that was and they wanted to take advantage of that to be that alternative and get those hardcore fans from the past to watch. So why not put Mick Foley, the hardcore legend Mick Foley, wrestle against crazy ass kooky Ric Flair who loves to bleed. The man thinks about bleeding and he starts to bleed. You know,
The minute he starts crying, he also bleeds.
his forehead's so thin at this point that just you do this to his forehead, bloop, blood's coming out.
It's very scary when you think about it. Like what? Like it could be the softest touch. Oh shit, you're bleeding.
Yeah, all the damage that they've done to their foreheads from blading and stuff.
And this is Flair, who would like when Ric Flair would go into Ric Flair mode, he'd be like, and then
He
just
goes nuts, and then
blood everywhere.
and make sure the blood goes in his bleach blonde hair to give that crazy effect. You know, it's just yeah. So so I hear his little voice in the background. Recording here.
But yeah, there's pretty much his at the end of his TNA run at that point, and then he
Mhm.
comes back to WWE, and like
Mhm.
WWE was very. I don't know how like they're very inviting. They're like willing to do like Vince is willing to take anybody back, which is the weird thing.
Depending who it is, yeah, he was always very much like, "Welcome back, buddy." I mean, hey, if Bret Hart was able to come back,
I mean, everybody. Fucking Marty Jannetty came back multiple times, and that dude got fired. How many times did he get fired?
oh Marty, oh Marty,
That's a different subject. We covered a little bit in the Shawn episode,
yes,
but Foley comes back. He has a little. I'm not gonna say program, but he has some interactions with Punk because this was when Punk was the champion for 434 days reign, and then they honored Foley in
Mhm.
2012, 2013. I think it was 2013 because WrestleMania 29 they put him in the Hall of Fame. And I will say this that class was very stacked that year
yeah,
because it was Mick Foley, Booker T, Bruno Sammartino, Trish
Mhm.
Stratus, and everybody's favorite president.
right.
But I mean, that's not a bad class to be involved in.
No, and with the talent aside from that other guy that got it thrown in there, yes, wrong class.
That might have been the most all-started class to that point.
I mean, just having Bruno Sammartino in it did
Yeah,
it. So that's definitely a
that was a big one because Bruno hadn't been talking to the company for years at that point.
exactly. And he was one of. I know some of the younger people will be like, "Who's that?" Like, look him up. Without Bruno,
Meanwhile, for the kids these days, if you thought Roman's reign was ridiculous enough, Bruno's
this,
was worse
this
or
was,
or good, depending on how you look at it.
it, you know,
But
it, it was a tremendously long title reign.
I do love Foley's speech because he mentions like before like I get to be in the Hall of Fame, and the one thing I never got to do, I never got to beat Chris Jericho, and then Chris Jericho like jumps on the stage, stays down, Foley pins him, and then Punk runs up and does the count, and like that was a cute little moment because, and that's also for like in Foley's character. Like,
Yeah,
let me do something goofy at my Hall of Fame speech.
yeah, goofy and wholesome.
Yeah. So then, like at that point, like goes in the Hall of Fame. He sticks around again, ambassador. There was the one Christmas episode of Monday Night Raw that my family saw, where like
Yeah,
Alberto Del Rio ran him over. So you have to picture my three cousins, like 12 and younger. I would say watching this, and they go, and they turn to me. Did Santa just get? Did Santa just get run over?
what year was that?
That was definitely like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, he was. That's okay. Yeah, that's when he was really doing the whole Santa gimmick.
Yeah.
Cause
I think it was also like it was right before Del Rio turned babyface.
mm-hmm.
So it was like that random episode of Raw where they did like the taping after their regular episode,
Yeah.
and they made like Del Rio the big heel,
Mm-hmm.
and Mick Foley was Santa for the night. But
Right.
yeah, like Foley, like again, would come in and out. He had that moment at WrestleMania 32 where
Mm-hmm.
like him, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold came back to a crazy pop in Texas to beat the League of Nations. And then around the time of in 2016 when the brand split was reintroduced, Mick Foley came back as an authority figure on Monday Night Raw under Stephanie McMahon, which kind of was a weird interesting relationship. I don't know if you remember this.
No, that
It
I
was
don't.
because it was like this was in the middle of Stephanie's authority heel character.
Okay,
So like and her and Shane were butting heads on who's gonna run what,
right.
and then like Stephanie got control of Raw, and then they're like, okay, she's gonna pick Triple H, of course, to run Monday Night Raw. And she picks Mick Foley. A lot of us fans were very confused, but then he said like, listen, I've known Stephanie since she was just a little girl, and I know how like she might act like the way she's been doing, but I know she's that little innocent girl that I remember going backstage and asking me if I'm okay after Hell in a Cell. Um, a lot of fans were kind of like, okay,
I wasn't a little girl at the time.
but I mean, but it's also like it was an interesting plot point because
Yeah,
think about it too. His history with Triple H as well. It's like of all the people Stephanie picks to be her GM of Raw, it's him,
right. One of her husband's arch enemies.
right? And honest to God, I thought they were gonna do another Triple H McFoley match at that year's Mania.
God, can you imagine?
Because I was like, because like it's every month it was like Mick, what are you doing? This is stupid. SmackDown's beating us. What are you gonna do? Your job's on the line.
Right.
And Foley and I felt bad for Mick because like he was definitely trying. He was trying to get everybody over. Like he was trying to get Charlotte and Sasha over. Trying to like he was doing comedy with Jericho, and sometimes it was like it would be one sided. Jericho was funny. Mick Foley. It's also like he was also like he has that moments with promos where like, if he gets too excited, his teeth start popping out, kind of like how Don Callis' teeth pops out of his mouth.
Right.
But it was like very awkward for Foley around
Mm,
watching this time,
really?
and then they fire him before WrestleMania, so he's once again out of the mix of the company, and ever since then until recently, again on Twitter sharing his opinion, and
Oh,
most of the time when he shares his opinion, you notice the droughts of him not coming back to TV.
yeah.
Like you no longer see him like special pops, like those rare occasions he shows up. You want to know why? It's because he's being very critical of the product.
Right. They don't
And,
like
and,
that.
and, and who runs the product? Vince and Triple H. They don't like opinions.
They don't. To this day, I mean, you give an opinion, and it's like, well, we don't care about your opinions.
I mean, shit, you're not here every day.
Right. Um, yeah, so that's true. Mick was very much kind of in and out. And I remember this is when he kind of started doing that one man show, like a comedy show, like the stand up stuff that he was doing.
I've definitely heard mixed reviews on it.
I never went to see it. It's funny because our former guest Brandon one time tagged me in a post that Mick did promoting his little show, that it was coming to New York.
Right.
And he was like, he tagged me like, hey, you should go check this out. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Maybe I'll go. And then Mick writes back, come on, Ariana, come to the show. And I was like, oh shit, he just called me out. But
Because for his comedy shows, what were you saying?
I think that, yeah, I was going to say, for you would have to know who he is. Because he's very, obviously, wrestling is very niche. Not everybody watches it or takes it seriously. So if he's going to go on tour, the people who are going to go are the wrestling fans.
Of course.
And people who aren't wrestling fans do go, they may not understand him, his look, his style, his delivery, you know?
And let's just say that the people that do stand up comedy for a living and the people that go to stand up comedy and see all these shows, it's very telling to see like, how crowds react. Because I mean,
Yeah.
Foley's humor is wrestling humor, so like he'll mention wrestling like stories in his routine. An
Yeah,
average Joe's not gonna know what the fuck is this guy talking about
exactly. It's
because
kind of
all his material is definitely wrestling related.
because if you ever see, like, on like Instagram, sorry, if you watch like a random stand up comedian talk about wrestling, they bring up wrestling. The
Yeah,
audience doesn't know how to react. They're like, because
I,
a lot of
I,
them,
I will say that I do see those clips like you're talking about, but it's
yeah,
always in the sense of like when like I don't know if it like they always preface is like I when I used to watch or like if I still watch, they don't bring up like
yeah,
specific match. Like they might bring up moments, but they don't talk about it in the sense that Foley used to be. It's like, oh, it's like
yeah.
the night that I got thrown off the Hell in a Cell, I felt like the dead man, and people just sitting there like,
I think Mick. I mean, like Mick doing a tour is cool. It's a cool concept if it's more of him, like you said, the storytelling of his career,
yeah,
um, and knowing that the audience that is going to come in is the wrestling fan that
right.
wants to see him talk about, you know, his life as a wrestler, his behind the scenes as a wrestler.
If it was centered for wrestling fans, then it could have been done a
Yeah,
little better. But it's just that he opened it up to
wanted
the yeah.
he wanted the exposure. He wanted to go beyond the business itself.
But don't you think that's an issue that he never learned? Like
Yeah,
he has his audience in the wrestling world. Nobody outside of wrestling is going to understand what you're
right.
talking about or get your humor.
Yeah, that he won't be taken seriously.
Right. And meanwhile, during all this, we get to see a lot more of his family. Because I mean, I know on the days of the WWE Network, they tried giving him his own show, Holy Foley,
Uh
and
huh.
give a spotlight to his very attractive daughter.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I laid my eyes on her, I was like,
Listen,
that's Mick's kid,
yeah, she's. I mean, but then you gotta remember the
the
mom is
wife.
a. She's gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And I I'm gonna be very wary about what I might say next, because I mean somebody might clip it and just go with it. But that fucking boyfriend of hers, Frank the Clown,
Oh, I remember that.
holy, it was like it's like I don't know. And he was a fan who sat in front row that got very close to her, and now I think something like they're married now, or they were. I know they were dating. I don't know if they're married.
Marry him?
I know they had a really long relationship.
Let me see. God, I hope not.
Frank the Clown married.
I hope not.
Because I remember seeing him next to her, and it's like, really?
No,
Like,
she's not married.
okay, so
She has been. She's. It looks like she's still with him, but they're not married.
okay, so they're still together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be like I don't know, like a weird match, because I just took it as like it's a fan dating a wrestler's daughter.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's like, is he in it for? Is he in this relationship for her, or is he in the relationship for the dad and for maybe trying to get in there?
Yeah, but back to the Holy Foley thing on the network. It was kind of a weird way for. It was weird that the company was presenting like here's your favorite Mick Foley that you all love. Here's
I
his
suppose.
daughter.
Right.
Are you? It was an obvious. It felt like an obvious
Yeah.
Hogan knows best type of thing, where it's like when Hogan showed his family on TV, it's kind of like trying to give the kids a platform.
Right. Like maybe they'll be the future.
Yeah,
Build them up.
because they had the episode where Noel was like, "I want to be a wrestler." It's like, here we go. Like, trot out the women wrestlers to train this girl for one day and just
Yeah.
have her cope with like, should I be a wrestler? Should I not be? It's like, these years later, she hasn't really done anything in wrestling. She's doing her
No,
own thing.
I'm okay.
Dewey, young little Dewey, did become a writer on the writing team.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think Triple H did bring him in for NXT, and
Huh?
unfortunately, he didn't last long. Maybe like a year and a half.
I hated it.
Well, no, like they just let him go.
I mean, who knows what happened? Maybe he was like, "This ain't it," and they decided, "Yeah, this ain't it."
I don't know, but I mean, because we talk about Foley's social standing, so like his social media, he did make the rounds around WrestleMania. I forget which one it was. It was like the one with, before the one they came back in Texas after the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
And Foley's like heartfelt reaction to seeing the worst stunner Vince ever took from Stone Cold.
That was hilarious. I remember how he had such a ball with that.
Because I think it was his son Dewey recording. It was just like, this is my dad reacting
Hollering.
to and Mick's just like, it's like, I can't. Like legit laughing, dying, just
I
like,
mean, it was pretty bad.
yeah.
He just crumbled.
It was so horrifying because it's like my god.
So
Like,
Steve was like, "Oh, damn it!"
but Stone, but funny enough, Steve had the same reaction. He's like you dumb bastard.
You can never take the stunner right. He really never could take it right.
So again, like Foley was like at this point, WWE when Mick Foley was still in the good graces
Right.
of WWE until WWE dipped their big little toes into the political field, where Foley felt very
Yes.
strongly about this, kind of like how you are, where you're not watching the product.
Correct.
And Foley, I'm gonna, I don't know how, I don't know what the word would be, but he took the big stance and said, "I am done with the WWE. If this is how you're gonna, if this is who you're gonna support."
Right.
So
And
he's pretty
align
much
with.
said, I don't know if I think he left. He pretty much just said, "I'm done with WWE." His Legends contract is done. His merch has been pulled off the
Everything.
website. Everything from
Yes.
WWE related.
Mm-hmm. Done.
Floor is yours. How like when you heard this news, were
Oh,
you shocked,
no.
surprised?
I was so proud of him. I was so proud of him, and I was so happy that somebody took the stance of morality over the money.
Yeah,
You know, um, because we know where Mick stands. He's been very vocal about the injustices happening across the country and around the world on his social media. And it's not just a political thing; it's a human rights thing. It's a humanity thing. Um, Decent human being thing.
right.
You know, and it's hard to be a decent human being, and the people that cut your checks are being or are rubbing elbows with the most corrupt human beings on this earth.
Yeah,
And that corruption is being attached to the company you're working for.
it was very telling or surprising to see Foley take to social media and just, I wouldn't say like beg or plead, but just implore, like WWE, like,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
he was trying to get them to open their eyes.
It was like heartfelt messages of like please, like what are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
doing?
exactly. And this is happening across the board with so many companies where
Right.
people are telling, they're putting out these messages to companies like, stop aligning with this person or with this government or with this country that's committing these horrific injustices against other human beings. Like, you're being complacent, and you're also like involved, whether you realize it or not. You're involving yourself in that kind of stuff, and we can no longer tolerate that. We're not going to support your company. We're not going to support your product. We're not going to buy your what you're selling anymore.
Right.
You know, and I felt his frustration, because when I was working at the company that did let me go, I wanted to leave because of that. The same reasons. I wanted out. I wanted out, and I was making a plan to leave on my own terms, but they did me the favor and cut me off
Yeah.
before I could do that. But for watching Mick take that stance, I was like, that's awesome. That's amazing. And I was hoping to see more people take that stance, but we haven't.
But I mean, I will say this: nothing what you said is just wrong. But it was an interesting situation to see because Kevin Nash commented on it and saying like, "Listen, like I don't agree with what their views are. I mean, because he's against Trump, so Kevin Nash has his own views of
Very,
his own
very,
thing.
very liberal, yeah.
But Kevin Nash is also that type of person that says, "Listen, it's a check. And at the end of the day, we know who Kevin Nash is. He'll take the fucking money, but
Yeah. I mean, he was
it, it,
complaining about how bad the royalty checks have been. Like he's been getting pennies.
but it's like for somebody like him, he understood what Mick did, and
Yes.
sort of criticized it, but he pretty much gave him kudos. I said, "Listen, good for you. I mean, shit. I'm not gonna follow in your footsteps, but damn it, you do it."
It's a
And
very
WWE didn't punish him. Foley just said, "Listen, my
and
contract is up in a few
yeah,
months, and I'm not gonna resign with you people."
yeah. I mean, at that stage of his career, what were they going to do to him?
I
Right?
mean, he wasn't being used. He wasn't like not on
Active.
television.
Right. He's not an active character. You know, they weren't going to bury him on screen.
I mean,
um,
what's the worst they could do at this point?
yeah, and of his status, honor what he's saying, and they did. They honored what he said, and they parted ways. Like he said, it wasn't a nasty parting; it was amicable. And he
Yeah,
said maybe one day I'll go back after all that connection is broken.
yeah.
Maybe I'll go back. Who knows? He's like, but right now, until that connection is broken, I will not show my face in that company ever again.
Yeah, because pretty much he was saying if I'm on that product with what you guys believe in or you guys who support,
Right.
I'm associated with that. People are going to say, "Oh, I am in support of the." And let's be real here too. A lot of people on the roster, all of them don't share the same beliefs. It's just that a lot of them are also like, none of them are punished by it. I
No,
hope not.
no,
I mean,
I hope not either. I mean,
but I mean, it was just very courageous, very bold of Foley. But it's also not surprising that he took a stand. He said, "Listen, I'm done. Like I've seen too many people get hurt. I've seen a lot of people like lives get ruined, and I'm not going to be associated with this. I've had so many fun years. I've been you guys pretty much put me on the map. I made a lot of money, but now for my personal well being and my personal sake,
yeah,
we need to part." And it didn't take long for him to find his new home in pretty much AEW, where we
yeah,
got to see him debut at Double or Nothing, which now is going to be an interesting transition to see him in the mix for
yeah.
AEW.
Right, because it was so fun to see him debut. That was so great. When I remember when I saw the announcement, I was so like, I was so happy because I know that he didn't want to leave the business altogether.
Yeah, he still loves the wrestling
He
business.
loves the wrestling business, so the opportunity came, and here's AW, and he has always spoke that he loved the product that they have.
Yeah,
He always gave it praise, and their stances leans more towards him. I mean, you had like Brody King come out with the shirts on, and their stance is much more liberal, more like where he leans.
Darby.
Darby, and it was just it was right. It was a right time for him to join. Like a legend like him, especially now that Sting has kind of walked away from being the legend of AEW. They need us. And a lot of people say, "Oh, but why do you need an older person?" Yeah, sometimes you need that. You need that veteran there. That
Yeah,
he doesn't have to step foot in the ring and wrestle. We don't ever want to see that happen. We don't want to see that. So
but
don't get any,
but we know
any
damn well they're gonna do it.
please. You're the crotch.
The ambulance is already heading their way because they.
You know, MJF kicking you in the crotch should be the most you do.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, it's when Darby Allin's saying, "I don't want to see him wrestle." That tells you something.
Right.
But Darby's
Exactly.
not saying it just to be like a dick. He's saying like, "Listen, you've done enough." Because I
Right.
mean,
You.
we didn't even mention this, but like in the few years that like after pandemic, he's been like weight loss, like trying to lose weight, and he made a goal saying like, "Listen, when I reach 60, I want to have one more death match." When he was training, he gave himself a concussion.
Right. I mean, listen, he did a fantastic job losing the weight. He's always going to be a bigger guy.
Yeah,
That's his. That's just him. But he lost a lot of weight, and he looks. He looks good.
right.
It's shaggy too.
But it's scary that when you don't. When he went to the doctor and the doctor told him you got concussion, and Flo was like, "I didn't
Like
even know.
how?
I
Right.
didn't
They're
even know." Like,
probably so used to getting concussions that they don't even know anymore when they have them.
but that's the moment when you say, "You know what? Enough is enough. But the only thing I see, I just have this feeling that they're gonna put him in like an anarchy in the arena type thing.
I hope not.
But
Listen,
but hopefully it's like a small role because again, like
listen.
you would
If
hope a kick to the balls is not gonna make him die.
like if he aligns with a side and he's on at ringside for them and he hits somebody with a chair, like
Fine.
if he's the one that's doing the offense, not defending himself against somebody, like they can try to touch him, but then he'll like outsmart them and hit them with a chair or some shit like that. Like that's cool, but don't please don't go through tables. Please don't have flames thrown at you somehow. Please, we don't want
No,
to see
no
this
more
in the
tax, no more fire, no more Barbie.
no right. Please just be the uh the support, the supporting role on the side, please.
The fun loving Mick Foley that could be a great ambassador for AEW.
Yeah, I mean, like let's see, like I don't know if you remember when he was trying to pitch himself to be part of the Judgment Day. He was doing it kind of like on social media.
I don't remember that.
You remember that? It
No.
was never on TV, but he had put out some reels on like IG and was like, "Hey, I want to," he wanted to be interviewed. He had his resume ready and everything, and then there was I think it was at the Hall of Fame a couple of years ago where he recorded himself having an interaction with Damian Priest, and Damian's like, I think Rhea was there too, and they were both like, "Please, we don't know. Yeah, come on, please, I really it'd be great part of Judgment Day."
Oh, is this when like they were trying to recruit like Dom and shit? Like when they were doing recruiting?
I mean, they already had Dominic, but he just felt like he
But
didn't
was
have
it the thing like was it their early Judgment Day stuff like where they're trying to recruit a lot of people into their faction?
yeah, more or less. And he was kind of pitching himself on social media to be a part of Judgment Day. Like I can't help but wonder if they're going to try to do that with the Bang Bang Gang.
I don't think so.
He's
I
already
think I
interviewed them. The reason why I say that only is because he's interviewed them several times backstage already, and he's
hmm
always trying to throw himself in with the guns and the bang bang and all that stuff.
yeah.
And little by little, it almost seems like at first I'm like, "There's no time for this right now, Mick." Remember that? Like, this is not the time for this right now, Mick. And then the second time, they were like, "All right, maybe you can do the guns with us."
I just feel at the end of the day they want to put him and Darby together, just because of how reckless both of them have been in their
I
careers.
mean, that's yeah. I mean, that could work too, but I don't know. Him and the Bang Bang Gang also kind of like it's right there.
Yeah, but again, I think for him at this point in the year 2026, it's definitely a better spot for him mentally, where like he could be happy and just not have to deal with a lot of the outside noise that he was dealing with regarding
Mhm.
WWE with their stance.
Yeah.
But for AEW too, it's also like new blood, fresh faces that he can interact with, learn like
Fine.
impart wisdom on them, maybe like teach them a few things or like share
Yeah.
stories of like what he went through for some of these people. Because I mean,
And he made
relatively AEW is a young roster of newer
right.
guys that he's
I mean,
never seen before.
he even made the connection with Willow. Like she reminds me of me.
Yeah.
That heart that they have. They never give up.
And I mean, it's an interesting transition because again, like he's still a little awkward, I will say, like, but it's not.
Getting used
Sm-
to it.
yeah, but eventually it's gonna be a bigger role for him because, like you said, the way Sting was for AEW, Mick Foley will be that in the sense
Yeah.
of in the mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brand new company for him. I'm sure it's a completely different process than how like even Adam Copeland said how different um WWE had become the last few years of his time there. How they transitioned from being a wrestling company to very polished, very scripted, very this. So I'm sure Mick was used to that kind of style, and now in AW, yeah, there's a script, there's a set process you got to follow, but it's much more open,
Yeah,
much
and
more creatively open. And he probably has to be like, oh shoot, I gotta tap into my creativity again.
But it's also like on the final note for him, and it's it's not like him going to a dead wall of just like if he has ideas. It's not like he's gonna talk to Tony Khan and Tony Khan's not gonna be open to it. Tony's gonna be like, what do you got? Like, let me hear it.
Like,
And then
okay,
if
do it.
Tony likes the idea, he's gonna say, you know what, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah,
And also
exactly.
and fully like you just mentioned Copeland. That's I would like to see them interact on TV. Like if
Oh
like you know
yeah,
how Tony does those in ring interviews. Let Mick
yeah,
do one. Say like ladies and gentlemen, for like the first time in all like over 2 decades, I'm gonna be
yeah,
talking to my good friend Adam Copeland.
yeah. I mean, that interaction would be fun with Christian on the
It
side.
just be a nice it'd be a nice love story or not like a love story, but just like a nice nod. Just have them like shake hands, hug, do something.
Absolutely, there's this that would be a fun interaction to see, and Christian on the side just looking like whatever.
You can even have Mick say like, "Listen, I knew you were gonna be big too."
Yeah, like I'm so proud of you guys.
But mostly for Adam, like have him do something like that because you know like that'd be
And
something
Christian,
like for Christian's care to be like, of course, like, but just a final note for this where it's pretty much for Mick Foley. He did a lot in the business, hurt him like physically, mentally, emotionally for all of his fans to watch it. But it's another one of those characters, people that left a permanent impression on
yeah,
wrestling fans.
oh, absolutely, without a doubt. He he changed the face of wrestling in so many different ways. Um, some people consider
Would you say for the good or the bad?
I would say for the good. I mean, I don't think there's anything bad that he's done. I mean, I know some people may say, "Oh, he was nothing but just a freaking like like Ric Flair said, a glorified stuntman, or just you know what? There's room for certain types of wrestling in the whole business. He had his style, but he was also able to adapt to the mainstream very well, and he showed that guys like him can be stars. He didn't have to
Right.
just look like a Hulk Hogan or a Roman Reigns or a John Cena or a he you could do it. You can do it.
What's the call that when Michael Cole said when Foley won the title? He he achieved his dreams and despite despite people saying like you can't do it,
Right. He did it.
I definitely butchered it, but that's just like the paraphrase like what he said because I mean like you said it wasn't the Hulk Hogan body type, wasn't like a Rey Mysterio body type either. A very unique, just like an average Joe looking person that it was able
Joe.
to reach the highest of highs.
Exactly. And there was nothing wrong. And some people criticize that. And what's wrong with that? Not everybody's meant to be a genetic freaking muscle bound person.
Kevin Owens is, I would say Kevin Owens is like is a modern close equivalent to Mick Foley.
Exactly. You got him. I mean, then you got guys like look at Samoa Joe, look at Brody King on that end.
They're
You know,
big, but they're not muscles. They're
they're
not big muscles.
right. They're big dudes, and you can find your space there. And he found his space and opened that for others to find that.
And we are definitely going long. But you know what? A lot there's just a lot to say about this one individual,
Yes,
and I think we did a pretty good job covering
I hope.
everything.
I hope he honored him. Be nice if he could somehow find these videos, and be like, oh,
If you know what, if somebody does share this to him, I would like to say thank you, Mick Foley, for everything you've done in the world of professional wrestling and for entertaining me and my co-host here as my table's fucking making a lot of noises. But thank you for everything you have done
yeah, man, you were awesome. Still are awesome. Can't wait to see everything he gets to do in AEW. I just,
and
he's
beyond.
yeah. I mean, I've seen little things of him outside, and I'm like, is that Mick Foley? Wow, like he actually does try his best to put himself out there. He
Yeah.
deserves it. He's a genuinely good person, and with everything he has sacrificed, he deserves to be able to have the best now.
Ari, where can everybody find us at?
Find us on the socials at Instagram at History and Headlocks, Facebook as well on History and Headlocks. Our podcast videos are on their New York Wrestle Media on YouTube and on all the podcast outlets. So we are everywhere. And can't forget our new venture.
Yes, Chatterbox and Chit Chats. Episode 1 is out for right now. Episode 2 will be coming very soon, coming down the line, but please subscribe for more content like that from us here at New York Wrestle Media. And class is dismissed.
Sit, turn, type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.